Day 6. I've kind of shaken off yesterday. It seemed to be somewhat cured with a good night's sleep, which I always kind of believe in. Today I was at Upper Garnier. It was spectacular. It is truly one of the most outstanding opera houses in the world, we're told, and I absolutely believe that. Um, Beautiful, beautiful interiors, stunning grand foyer, beautiful staircase. What I think was fascinating was the narrative. I did a guided tour. I don't often do guided tours, but this time I did. And the narrative that they worked through, I thought was actually pretty brilliant because it's every bit as true today as it was back then. Um, Really talking about how it was built, the style that it was built, and so much focused around not building it as an opera house where the best acoustics could happen, where it was a really great place to see a show, sight lines, any of that. This was all about see and be seen, and every detail in the opera house was built around that. There are mirrors at the bottom. There is a staircase with long but shallow stairs designed to be climbed very slowly. And most importantly, there are layers to it. There is the grand staircase and the marble balconies and a level of opulence. And yet, just above that sit both the subscribers and sort of the working class balconies. And they have these balconies that were designed to look down and see what the wealthy were doing, watch the wealthy during their intermission bar service, watch them before it started. And I think it's every bit as true today. There's always a risk of today being a rant, but I saw a huge number of, call them influencers, people all dressed up, doing all their careful poses. I will take some broad sweeping brushes here and say males following around really well dressed females posing for photos and irritates me. Again, risk of a rant. I think some of what irritates me, first and foremost, is they're taking up the balcony for, these 5-minute mini photo shoots and just delaying the whole process um and don't love that. And equally important, they're sort of selling something, and I don't totally agree with it. They're doing the look at me, my life's so cool. Um, Don't you wish you were me? I'm traveling to exotic places. I'm in all these fancy places. I'm all dressed up, even though it's like 11 in the morning and you're in a cocktail dress. Okay. And I think before I go way too far on that rant, because I definitely could go way too far on that rant, I think it is pushing back against a few things. I think one, I am always happy to look at content that has to do with somebody's ideas, their thoughts, how they're positioning, how they're thinking about something. The look at me, I'm pretty, I'm kind of over. That may be an age thing. Maybe it is for you, maybe it isn't for you. But equally, I think there's just this whole notion of social media, and we often hear about this, that we're viewing these highlight reels. And I would almost say today we were viewing a set of actors playing a role who weren't even their highlight reel. I'm sure they go from place to place taking pictures, and then I'll make up a story that they go to some shitty hotel and eat McDonald's for dinner, but make the world believe that they are these beautiful jet set people. And how much do we, on the receiving end of that, start to doubt ourselves, start to feel like we're missing out, starting to feel like our lives aren't nearly as interesting? So, pushing hard against that today, pushing hard against buying into other people's best of images, buying into the image that other people are selling. There's probably a bit of irony. Here I am on YouTube, but I hope that these videos are all about my ideas. I would hope or tend to believe it's certainly not my prettiness that's getting people here. Um, I would hope that it's the ideas. I would think that would be my stronger talent would be in the areas of ideas. Um, And that's what I'm far more okay promoting, far more clear to talk about and to just bring into the picture, just bring out. And so it's kind of interesting. It was a 150th anniversary tour in is part of the one that I took, and 150 years later, not a lot's changed. And so perhaps I just have to accept that there will always be a little bit of the showiness, a little bit of the wanting to look good and seeking others' approval, and some degree of perhaps social hierarchy attached to that. And I push back on that as well because I don't think anybody should ever feel less than because they don't have the beautiful dress or the beautiful lifestyle or are surrounded by opulent exteriors. And we are sold billions of dollars of advertising each day, convincing us that we are inadequate, that if we are unhappy, the way to cure that unhappiness is through buying stuff. And again, I hope, at least for me, maybe as I get to more of a middle age space, I'm not completely immune to it, but I think I probably do roll my eyes at it a little bit more. Perhaps being male, I'm a little less susceptible to the millions of anti aging creams that seem to be out there. But I just feel like I can get past the shallowness, and I really consider that's what it is. There's such a shallowness to it, such a surface level success to it, such a two-dimensional character level to it. And I'm kind of interesting. It's a space of AI coming along. Are AI influencers going to replace real influencers? And what does that mean? The smug part of me would say even influencers can be replaced because there's not a whole lot of talent there and they can easily be replicated through computer algorithms. But then there's also another part that says two things. One, we will see the most perfect images that we've ever seen because AI can craft them with absolute perfection, flawless, and body proportions that are beyond our dreams. But equally, there will also be the algorithms that know how to micro target us, that know exactly what we like, that know exactly maybe the colors, the shapes, the patterns, what our motivations are. And we have some ethical questions we're going to have to address through AI in the future, really around where does that line sit between really good, useful, targeted marketing versus, quite frankly, surveillance. So, day 6 in Paris, negotiating these ideas, negotiating a city with incredible luxury, with an incredible aesthetic for beauty, and navigating my way through that. I love every building that has detail. I love how much public art there is. I love the rules around the architecture, that it is largely a whole lot of houseman architecture with the mansard roofs, that there are strong rules about keeping things painted, about making sure that the city isn't graffitied. And how do we hold up that ideal of art and detail and not fall onto the shallow side of it, not fall onto the surface level side of it? How do we equally keep ideas at the table? And how does all of this change as we get to a certain age? Part of me maybe could forgive some of those influencers because they are in that 20s into their 30s age, maybe where they know they've got a whole audience that wants to be like them, that in that age, we are looking for our clues on what success looks like, on what it could be, on who we aspire to be, on a particular lifestyle or a particular look and beauty that we would aspire to. And I think the wisdom that comes in our 40s and 50s is we're no longer looking for that approval. It certainly still exists in different areas, in different ways. Perhaps we're a little more worried about people perceiving our judgments of and our decisions maybe than our looks. I think we can let them go, and yet I'll say that I say that as a privileged white male, without disability, and I would imagine females have a completely different experience of that. I've heard of females feeling invisible in middle age. Um, and how do we as a culture begin to shift that narrative? How do we see more social media that portrays strong, independent leaders with great ideas who are truly leading transformation rather than the ones who are age defying or the ones who are of a certain age but don't look their age? This can easily tip into a whole long discussion about plastic surgery, and I'm not sure I have a clear opinion on that. I think if it helps you feel good and helps that confidence come from the inside out, then by all means. I think if you're looking at it to try and quell your fears or try and fight an inevitable process, I'm not sure you're going to win that battle. I think sooner or later we all age. And though there are certainly some 80-year-old celebrities who go to their grave looking quite lifted, perhaps to the point where they can't blink, but these are the pieces that we have to figure out. This is the moment where we are starting to ask different questions. And I think it's quite a wide territory. I think health is absolutely important. To me, these are critical years because, as I might have talked about before, so much of what I'm doing these days, up and down stairs, changing metro lines, I value my mobility. I value my health. And I realize more and more how important it is to me to keep my health and what decisions am I making to stay strong and to fight off chronic diseases and to make sure that I can do this for a while longer because what I continue to discover and what I really hope to get out of this experience is that I want to do a whole lot more of this in many places around the world. And I think if you're waiting till you're older to do it, there's a whole lot more unknowns that you're having to contend with. I'm easily getting my 10,000 steps a day, and I don't really feel them. They are just part of exploring, and it sort of comes as a surprise, a pleasant surprise at the end of the day when I look at how many steps that I've put in. And so, yeah, it was a really good day, and I absolutely enjoyed the Opera House. I think there's a whole potential other topic that could be explored around the value of things like live theater, of live concerts, how much those will probably fetch a premium again in a world of AI and synthetic content. I think we're really looking for something real where it could go wrong. People could make mistakes, and we still really want to be part of that because we can see humans, and particularly on stage in a venue like the Garnier Opera House, those who are at the top of their game. And what a unique privilege to see the benefit of years of training. Garnier, in particular, is largely a ballet house now, Opera House being at Opera Bastille these days, but superb athletes that can't make it look like they're trying hard to be athletes. And what a privilege, what a joy, what a unique experience to take part in, and a unique thing to view. And I think it's something that I've always appreciated. Again, some of the magic in Opera Garnier was it is the venue where Phantom of the Opera was set. It is the house where the author of the original book, Gaston Leroux, attended and understood about a counterweight falling as part of the chandelier that turned into some of the whole story and myth and legend of the opera house. And that part of the live theater, that part of the arts has always been really, really important to me. And again, it's a piece for you to consider. It's not something we may be able to do every night of the week, but at the same time, if it's been every Saturday and Sunday on the couch, just vegging out in front of TV, maybe it's time to get back to some live theater if that's something that excites you and something that you enjoy. Maybe it's concerts, maybe it's comedy clubs, maybe it's ballet, maybe it's dance, maybe it's a lecture. but getting out of the house, expanding your horizons, mixing with people, getting exposed to new ideas, getting exposed to people's interpretations, artistic interpretations of ideas. And I think that's a really important part of the French culture here. As I say, there's definitely an aesthetic, and perhaps some of the antidote from that being shallow, as I wondered about, is the fact that there are some really unique artistic interpretations and stories behind things, and just fascinating to see how things are reflected within the arts here. And it's an experience that I wish for you if it's something that you would want for yourself, if it's something that would expand your world, help you feel more aligned with being able to be present in the moment with your passions, with your purpose, whatever it is, whether that's a vacation or whether that's trying to find a life similar to this one, where there just is a whole lot more flexibility, where it doesn't feel like work is this heavy anchor that takes up 8.5 or 11.5 months of the year, and there are only a precious few vacation days that need to be maximized out, again, to meet that social pressure um, to try and align with what the general culture might be in your organization, and whether you are willing to push back against it because you start to realize that it's more important that you align with yourself and let people think what they're going to think. Let them view you somehow as less productive if that's what they want to do. I think it's actually more important to live a life worth living than it is to um, try and appease the critics, because the critics will always be there. And it's never a productive use of time to try and make those who are miserable happy, or at least try and deflect those who are miserable from trying to lob their criticisms at you. They're just feeling crappy inside and they want some discharge to get it out of themselves. I'm not owning it and I'm not taking it on. And so people want to direct criticism at me, they can. I'm still making my own decisions. I'm still taking the risks that I think need to be taken and designing my life in the way that feels true to me, and always trying to find the balance in that and find a way to do what I want to do, regardless of what other think. And it's work. It is a challenge some days. And every time I get better aligned, I realize the rewards, and that feeds back that desire to get even more realigned. And so the journey continues. And so maybe we'll close there and just reflect on those thoughts. Reflect on building your own journey, building your own pathway, and trying to come out of some of that fog of midlife and just start making the decisions that feel right for you, the ones that start to feel aligned. They don't all have to be made at once, but just give them space to show up. Give them a little bit of space and see what whispers to you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for day 7.